Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My kids are asleep, so I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible with getting everything in it. Um, as you can tell by the title, I will be talking about how I met my baby dad, what we've been through, and why we fell off, and why he will be gone for the next 15 years. Okay, so I first met my baby dad when I was in the 5th grade. Um, he sat behind me, and I don't know why, but I don't even realize that I even seen him until like later on during the school year. And I seen him and I was just like, oh my gosh, he is so cute. Like, I was so into it. I was into Bad Boys, which is why this video is gonna be the way it is. But at the time I was into Bad Boys, and you can tell he was a bad boy by the way he acted, the way he dressed, whatever. So I seen him in the 5th grade. I never talked to him because I was young. I was like, I'm not gonna get a boyfriend. My dad's gonna kill me. You know how Hispanic family is. Well, I remember getting into middle school. I think I was 8th grade, and my whole school was talking about, oh, so and so is back, and I was kind of like, I knew he was gone, but I thought he had like moved away or something. And turns out that he was in CAP. For those who don't know, CAP is for like the bad kids. And so I guess he was in CAP, and everybody was talking about him like, oh, he's back, he's back. And I was like, who cares? Like, I mean, maybe he's still cute, yeah, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Like, he's not gonna talk to me. And I seen him and I was like, yeah, he's still fucking cute. 8th grade, summer going into high school, is where it all started, pretty much, like everything. At the time, we had, me and my mom and my brother, whatever, we had friends over. They were in the process of moving, so they kind of stayed with us during the summer. Well, while they were staying with us, they were the smoker type. They would smoke and they would drink. I was innocent. I was an innocent little girl. And then I started hanging out with them. We started to, well, I remember one of the guy, because it was a guy and a girl. I knew the girl, we were much closer. I knew she smoked, I knew she did stuff, but I was kind of like just following her on what she was doing. But I remember the guy, our old friend, was like, do you know anybody who sells weed? And I was like, no. He was like, oh man, I really need a smoke. I need a smoke. And then I was just kind of like, well, I don't know anybody. I remember him leaving, and then he came back like 2 hours later, and he was like, I found some weed. And I was like, who'd you get it from? And he was like, I got it from so and so. And I was like, he was like, do you know him? And I was like, I know somebody like that, but I don't think they sell. And he was like, I was like, where do they live? Or where does he live? And he was like, back there. And I was like, I don't think that's him, because the one I know lives somewhere else. But I was like, no, it can't be him. So later on that day, I guess he ended up getting more weed, and he was like, he's outside, come and see if it's him that you know. And I'm like, I don't even want to go out there. I'm a little ass kid, fucking hanging out with older people. And I go outside and I'm like, oh shit, like it really is him. If I look weird, it's because I'm recording on my phone. I'm in my mom's room. If I look weird, it's because I'm reading the text message at the same time. But I walk out and I was like, oh shit, it is him. He was like, you know him? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, we're about to go smoke. Do you want to come? And my dumb ass, yeah, I'm gonna go. Like, I wanna hang out with y'all too. Shit. So we go over to my baby dad's house, and um we're there smoking, and I'm still shy as fuck. Like, I wanna talk to you, but I'm shy. We ended up leaving his house, and I was like, oh yeah, the guy that our friend that was staying with us, he didn't have a phone, so he was using my phone to make his calls. So I had my baby dad's number in my phone, and I was like, I really want to talk to him. Like there's how am I gonna talk to him without having to bring my friend over? And I texted him. I was like, hey, well, this weed is like real good, and he was like, LOL, yeah. He was so fucking dry. He was so dry. He was shy too. Like, you can tell that he was so shy. But that's how I remember. That's how it started out. Like, I told him, I was like, this weed's really good, and he was like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And from that day on, we started to hang out a lot, like a lot, a lot. And then I remember getting in trouble with him. We were trying to go swimming in a neighborhood pool that was already closed. We were trying to October 23rd, 2012, guys. Like, remember. October 23rd, that night, like around 8, we were trying to go jump in the pool just to go swimming real quick and then come back out. But as soon as we were taking off, like, our shoes and stuff, he was like, there's somebody right there. I'm like, shut up. He's like, I'm for real. And I turn around, and the fucking security guard is there. I'm like, fuck. Like, I was like, I was really trying to go swimming. And then I was like, well, are you gonna let us out? And the security guard was like, no, the way you got in, you can get back out. I was like, fuck, like, that's so embarrassing. He calls the manager of that whole neighborhood. She comes down, and she was like, y'all were jumping in my pool. And we were like, yeah. And she made my baby dad call his sister, because she was the one who lived in that neighborhood. She made her come, and she started tripping, whatever. She was like, does she belong to you too? And I was like, I hope she says yes, and I can just dip home. And hopefully, sorry, I'm trying to like hurry. Thankfully, she said yes, she's with me. So we ended up going back to the house, and my baby dad, his sister were arguing, like, why did you do that? You know you can get me kicked out, and so. And they got into an argument, so he got his stuff, and he was like, I'm just gonna go back to my dad's house. I was like, damn, like, I really don't want you to go over there, because if you go over there, you know, we can't hang out no more. Like, your dad lives pretty far from where I live. And keep in mind, like, we were kids, so we didn't have a car. We didn't have, like, people to be like, hey, can you come get me, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I really don't want him to go. And he was like, come on, I'll just walk you home. So he literally lives, like, minutes. Oh, his sister lived minutes away from me. So we were close to my house. So we get to the end of my street, and he's just looking at me. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why is he looking at me like this? I'm like, what? And he just starts smiling. He's like, nothing. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. Text me. He was like, all right. So we split up. He goes walking to his dad's. And then he texts me. He was like, well, I was going to ask you to be my girl. So corny. I was like, you were? I was like, you are or you were? And he was like, I am. And I got so fucking happy. I was like, man, like, I like this kid since the 5th grade. We are now going into high school. Like, he's finally going to be mine. And I was so excited. I remember everything. Like, I feel like it would happen yesterday. Well, we started dating, and it was I can honestly say he was my first love. Like, he's somebody I really not like I hate him, not because I don't know. I can't really explain it. Like, I love him because he's my baby dad. I'll always have love for him, but the choices he's made and the things he's put me through makes me kind of like maybe we were better off as friends. So he he was selling, you know, he was dealing, but he only was selling weed. So I was like, weed's not that bad, you know. You know, just do your time, come back out, or pay whatever you gotta pay. So he was pushing at the time, and we were just going to school. There was times where I would go to school and he wouldn't show up, and I would always tell him like, why didn't you go to school? You know, I was there by myself, like. And I was so in love with him, like real in love with him, to the point where I started skipping school a lot. I started disrespecting my mom. I would sneak out and do so much extra shit that I wish I just didn't do. And then it was a good year. I think by the second year is when I kind of went too far and went to the point to where I moved in with him. When I moved in with him, during that time, he started selling more than just the weed. So he was selling weed, he was selling Xanax, he was selling ice, and I think that was pretty much it. While we were together, the first year and the second year, he got pulled over, and he ended up going to jail, and he did bail himself out because he had the money for it. Him and his mom both got cut up, actually. So him and his mom did go to jail. When I moved, excuse me, when I moved in with him, in that time, he had to go to court, but he had to be clean. Sorry. He had to be clean. And I was like, I know there's a drink that you can drink to clean out your system. Because if he goes in dirty, they're going to, you know, arrest him. And I was like, I can't remember the drink. So I texted not a family friend, but an old friend that was friends with me and my brother. I texted him. I was like, hey, do you know what that drink was called, the way you got clean? He was like, oh, it's Palo Azul. I was like, oh, yeah, thanks. When I texted him thanks, I sent an emoji. When I sent the emoji, everything flipped out. Like, he started accusing me of cheating. He's like, yeah, you're fucking him, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I even remember calling my brother in front of him and asking him, like, right, so-and-so is our friend? He was like, yeah. My brother was like, are you really calling me just for that? I was like, yeah, because blah, 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 so-and-so thinks that I'm fucking him and this and that. He's like, he's tripping, whatever. We let it go. After that, he was kind of like acting funny. Like, when you're in a relationship with somebody long enough, like so long, you know how they start acting, you know how they are, you know when something's up. So after that situation happened, I started seeing him kind of like I don't know, like because we were close. It kind of seemed like he was like backing away a little. So I started to notice that, and I was like, hell no. Like, if he's doing that, it's because there's somebody else. And I was like, I know that's not what he's doing. Like, I hope that's not what he's doing. In my head, I was kind of like, if he's doing this, it's because he thinks I cheated. Well, I later find out that he was texting somebody else and that they were seeing each other for like the longest time. Because when a little after that that me and him got into argument, I ended up moving out just because I wanted to finish school. I ended up going to a school that was from like 7 a.m. to 12 in the afternoon instead of like a regular school. So when that happened and I started seeing him different and I noticed that he was texting somebody else, I was pissed. Like, I was like thinking to myself, like, why is he doing this? Like, I really did not cheat on nobody. On him. I should have fucking cheated on his ass. But I remember, I think I was like 2 months pregnant and nobody knew. Like, till this day, when all that was going on, my family does not know. Like, my brother, my mom, my dad, my uncle, everybody, they didn't even, till this day, they don't know. So when I upload this video, I'm sure y'all are going to know. Hi guys, Theo's families. Yeah, I was 2 months pregnant when I had moved out of Angel's house, my baby dad's house. And okay, fuck it. His name is Angel. I'm not gonna worry about. It's annoying having to always say so and so. So yeah, his name is Angel, and actually no, it's not. That's his middle name, so I'm not tripping. Okay, so after I moved out of living with Angel, I think I was like 2 months pregnant, and when I found out that he was cheating, we were like on and off. Like, I was literally in love with him to the point where I knew he was cheating, but I wanted to be with him. You know what I mean? If those of you who ever been in love and you know my what I mean, please comment below, because I feel like I know I'm not the only one. But we were on and off, and then this one morning he texted me and he was like, where you at? Where you at? Answer your phone. I don't have nowhere to sleep. I don't know, like, can you let me in? And I was like, I want to let him in, but why would I let him in if he's been cheating on me, you know? So I was just like I really want him inside, but I know it's no good. I even got into an argument with my mom, like, telling her, like, can you please let him in? Like, can you please come in? And she was like, all right, fine. She finally, you know, was like, okay, and she's let him in, and she was like, he can come in, but he needs to be out, or he needs to be gone by the time I get back from work. So, like, okay. He came in and he was like, man, I'm hungry. Can you make me something to eat? And I was like, fine. I made him something to eat. He's like, can you wash my clothes? So I'm fucking washing his clothes too. And he wasn't fucked up. He was just like fucked up from the night before, I guess. And then he asked me to wash his clothes, and he was like, come lay down with me. So I made a little bed or whatever. I didn't want to bring him into my room just because I don't want my mom to be like, what the fuck, you know. So I brought him into my room, and no, I didn't. Sorry. I made a little bed in another room, and we laid there. And I'm laying there, and I had this gut feeling like something is up with him. And you know, guys, when you have that gut feeling, always go with it, because it's always right. I'm like, I need to see what's up. And I was like, I'm gonna go through his phone. He was charging his phone. He said he was dead, so he turned it off. I go through it, and I'm looking through his messages, and sure enough, that same girl is texting his phone. And I'm like, hell no. I was like, fuck that. I started waking him up. I fucking started throwing shit at him, like shoes and everything. He was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? I was like, motherfucker, why are you here asking me to feed you and wash your clothes and give you somewhere to stay when you have a bitch looking for you and asking for you? Where in the fuck are you coming? Like, ask that bitch to fucking wash your clothes. Ask her to feed you. Ask her to give you somewhere to stay. Oh, I forgot, because she's a little girl. She was skipping school just to see him. Oh, I'm in my head. I'm like this bitch is stupid. Like, she's worried about fucking sucking dick beep instead of going to school. Whatever. And he's like, you're tripping, you're crazy. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy, Angel. The messages are right here. Like, how are you gonna lie to me? It's right here. Like, the phone's right here. You wanna lie again? It's here. He's like, I'm leaving. And I was like, no, you're not leaving. My dumb ass on the... I was like, no, you're not leaving. And I was like, I remember what I said. I was like, nah, if you leave, I'm going with you. And he was like, nah, fuck that. So he walks out the car. I grabbed my phone, put my shoes on quick, and he gets in the car. And keep in mind, this car that he has is fucked up. Like, he was really... He had a car, but him always going, getting pulled over and going to jail, he would always get stuff and end up losing it. So this car he had was a car he had bought, but it ran, but it would like jerk. You know what I mean? Like, it would take a minute to get whatever you need to go. I remember getting in the car with him, and he did not give a fuck. Like, he was going, he said fuck stop signs, fuck the cops. Like, he didn't care. And in my head I was like he is really mad because he got caught. Like, why do cheaters get mad because they get caught? You should have just been honest from the beginning and we wouldn't have this situation. Well, we get to where his mom is at, which is a friend of theirs, and I was like, why did you tell me you have nowhere to sleep? You have somewhere to sleep. Like, you could have stayed here. You could have washed your clothes here. And he was like, whatever. And I walk up in the house too, and then he's mad, and we're arguing in front of his mom. And then I was like, you're really mad because you got caught, huh? He's like trying to brush it off. And then I was like, look, who do you want? Do you want her or do you want me? And then his mom jumps in, and she was like, I know you are going, like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically what she was trying to say is, if you and him do split, will you keep the baby away from me or something like that? Something similar to that. Well, I ignored her and went back to talking to him, and I was like, who do you want? Do you want her or do you want me? Or who do you want to be with? Sorry. And he said, nah, fuck that. I'd rather be in jail. So when he said that, he popped under the Xanax, took a sip of his beer, and kind of just brushed it off. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna, you know, sit here and just be like being told how many times that you don't want to be with me. Why am I still here? So I kind of just, I walk out the door, and I was so angry, like, being pregnant, you know, hormones, and feeling all different emotions, from being sad to wanting to cry to wanting to just hit him and fight, and so much anger. Instead of walking home, I said to myself, I'm gonna show up at this bitch's house. So at the time, she was skipping school, and they were going to meet up at one of our friends' house. And so this is where we were at, where his mom and him were at. And I think our friend was like, I think 4 blocks down, I would say. I don't know. But I'm walking, and then while I'm walking, I heard him walk out the door and get in his car. I turn around, I'm like, fuck that. Like, he's gonna try to beat me there before I get there. I'm like, hell no. Like, There's no way I'm gonna let him beat me there. To get her, to pick her up and then take her somewhere else. Fuck that. I wanna put my hands on her. So I book it. I'm running. Fucking, I run 4 blocks. I think it was like 6 blocks. I run like 6 blocks nonstop. And I got to the door and I was like, out of fucking breath. Like, I had no energy. I get to the house and I knock on the door. And my friend is like, surprised. She goes, yes. Like, she's like, what'd you say? She said, yes. You know you're my girl, right? And her brother comes up too, giving me handshakes. And I was like, they knew why I was there. That little girl was there because that little girl is friends with my friend's little sister, which is why she was there. So, they knew why I was there. And I was like, where's so-and-so? And my friend was like, oh, she's over there. I was like, okay. So I'm walking up to the restroom because she was in the restroom doing her makeup, getting ready. I walk up and she's on her phone and I'm like, what's up? And she looks up and she was like, oh shit. And while I'm talking to her, Angel calls. I'm like, hell no. I fucking grabbed her shit and I threw it. And I was like, come outside because I'm not about to fight you inside of their house. And it took me a minute to finally get her outside to fight. But we finally went outside. We fought and we fought. Dude, I remember like I had no energy. Like running those blocks and then, you know, just fighting. I had no energy. So I kind of like... At this moment, I'm trying not to beat my brother's ass for ruining my video. Sorry. I hate when I'm trying to film and then my fucking brother just comes out with his loud ass fucking music. But we ended up fighting and I had no energy, and later on she ends up leaving. Oh no, wait. Later on, Angel pulls up and he's like, did they fight? Did they fight? And our friend was like, yeah, they fought. Like, they fought in the backyard. And I was like, no shit, motherfucker. Like, we fought because of you. And he was all smiles, like, oh, these bitches just fought for me. Like, no, nigga. Relax. But, after that, we went across the street from that friend's house to his mom's boyfriend, and he was like, you fought her? I was like, yeah. And where we were at, we can see her walking, like leaving the house. And my baby dad goes, at least let me give her a ride. And you know what my dumb ass said? Okay, but I'm gonna go with you. Like, the shit I said, like, I sit here and think, like, why did I say that? Why did I do those things? But, she texted me while I was there, too, and she was like, your boyfriend is texting and calling me. And I was like, you look so stupid. Like, you can obviously tell she doesn't want you, and there you are blowing her shit up. And then, later on, we finally go home, or I tell him to take me home. And like doing all that running and fighting with her, when I got in the car, I felt my face hot. Like, I felt it really hot. Like, I felt like I had like a bunch of, I don't know how to explain it, but it was really hot. And then out of nowhere, I just go boom, like my head goes back, and I couldn't even lift my head up. Like, I had no energy. I felt like I was gonna faint, basically. And he was driving, and he was like, yes, man, yeah, like fucking getting on my head and shit. I'm like, get off me. Like, I had no fucking strength. And then we ended up picking up his mom later on too, like before he took me home. And he was like, Mom, Yasmin and so just fought. She goes, oh, really? I was kind of mad because I was like, I feel, because she knew that I was being cheated on and never said nothing, which is makes sense because that's your son. You're always gonna have your son's side over mine. But I rather a motherfucker tell me that he don't love me and don't want to be with me than to cheat on me first. So when we picked her up, she was like, he told her that we fought, and she was like, really? Did you beat her ass? And I was like, whatever, like, you're annoying too. But we ended up coming back to my house, and I got his shit, and I didn't care if it was wet. I threw it at him, like, you can wash your own clothes, find a way, I don't care. And then I think like a couple days later, I had a miscarriage. I guess like all the stress and fighting and doing that whole running thing I guess was the reason why I had a miscarriage. And I remember telling him, and he was like, well, we can try again. I was like, hell no, like, I ain't trying to have your baby no more. But little after that is, what happened after that? I think after that he ended up doing time. He had to go. I think the first time he had to do time was 6 months the first time, and then he came home for like a month. He went to a halfway house, and then he ended up having to go do another 6 months after. I don't know. It was all crazy. The only reason why it was like that and not all at once was because the court didn't bring his charges concurrent, so he had to, do it that way. And then, yeah, I think the first 6 months I would write him all the time. And when he came home from the first 6 months, he admitted to me that he did fuck her. And I was kind of like, why didn't you tell me before? Like, I wasted my time writing you and trying to talk to you when, I thought you didn't. Because when he was at home, he told me that they didn't do nothing, that they were just hanging out and smoking, but they really did fuck. And then I think that's when it all went downhill. I let it get to me. I just didn't make good choices after that. And then he came back home again, and just more drama. But currently now, he's actually, with the charges he had before, and him getting in trouble even after that, and selling and stuff, and guns and everything like that. The judge said that he needs to do 15 years. So the last time I talked to him, he told me that he had to do 15 years, and I told him, I was like, if you want to know my opinion, I mean, it probably don't matter, but I feel like you should do your 15 years. I was like, I don't think you should run. He was like, I shouldn't, huh? And then if you think about it, you can't really say, I'm just going to do the 15 years, because who really wants to do 15 years in prison, So,
Oh my goodness, I feel like I done talk way too much already, but continue.
we don't communicate as much as we did before, just because he has a girlfriend and he has a daughter with her. So I don't really butt in. I don't really care anymore. Like, I did my crying. I wrote my letters already. I did whatever I had to do. It's his girlfriend's turn now. When people get tired of stuff, because people keep doing the same thing and the same thing over and over again, people get tired. You get tired of things and you just want to drop them. So I think now, yeah, I think he's running. I'm not too sure, but um, I'm just gonna cut this video short just because I think the boys are up. And I will get back to y'all in another video or another vlog. But yeah, like, comment, and share, and I will keep posting and keep me updated to what you guys want to watch. Thank you. Bye.